What's up, guys? Welcome back to Between the Pylons. I'm John Camacho. Thank you so much for watching. And guys, today we are talking about Florida wide receiver Kadarius Toney, and this dude is a ton of fun to watch. Seriously, like, I implore you to finish this video in full, leave a like and subscribe, but right after that, go check out some Kadarius Toney highlights videos because he's just fun to watch. It was an absolute blast going through and studying the player, and then going back through and preparing for this video was even more fun. It's just fun. But there's a lot to talk about with Kadarius Toney. I want to talk first about his size and about the player as a whole. He is still very raw prospect. So I am going to wax poetic about certain aspects of his game. And we're going to get to all of that in just a second. But it is worth mentioning and worth keeping in mind to frame the conversation for Kadarius Toney in the way of thinking he is still very raw. All right. I do think he needs a year. All right, I think it give him a year in the NFL, and then after that, I mean, sky's the limit. I mean, seriously, this dude could be a legit game-changing type of guy in the NFL. I don't think it'll happen right away. Very raw, but a ton of fun to watch and a ton of raw potential. All right. And with all that being said, there are certain other elements that need to be talked about. There are some disciplinary issues that are going to have to be worked out for the team side. At a certain point in his college career, he was pulled over with a loaded AK-15 in his car in his back seat. He was just cited for it. There were no arrests or anything because it was not on his person, and obviously, you know, was not concealed or anything like that. Florida does not have the best reputation when it comes to like character issues and things like that. I try not to get into that on this channel. I will mention it at the top here, but it's more just to kind of frame the conversation, not really something that I grade him based off, because I graded him on what I can see and what I can project. But guys, let's get over to the film review. And guys, remember, this is just a quick overview of who Kadarius Toney is as a prospect. It's not a detailed film review. I do have those on my channel, but that's not exactly what this video is intended to be. So when we talk about Kadarius Toney, the first thing we have to talk about is his ability to stop on an absolute dime. Watch this stretch run play to the wide receiver here, and watch Kadarius Toney stop on a dime and fake out 3 different Alabama defenders and cut up field. Obviously gets stopped here for a modest gain, but you have to love that type of shiftiness, and is just one thing that makes him so exciting to watch. And here we're going to see him catch the ball in the flats here, just a simple out route, and I just love the toughness here. Just displays really good toughness, gets away from a blocker, obviously gets caught from behind a little bit as he's trying to pick back up speed. Not really the point, just wanted to throw that in there to show toughness. And really that leads me into this next play, because when we talk about toughness, this is another great example. Another wide receiver stretch run play here against Ole Miss, and watch him square up against this defender, bulldozer, catch his feet, and then fly up the sidelines, and eventually gets caught by this corner. It's just a little bit faster than him, but absolutely impressive. But that's not the only thing he can do. He is the complete package, in my opinion. And here we're going to see Kadarius Toney running this basic slant route and pulls out the dead leg move here. That's what I call it. It works to perfection. He is so good with his move, and creates a lot of space and makes a lot of people miss off of this move right here. And then once he is in space, open field, easy throw and catch. I love the explosiveness. I love his ability to pick up speed in the open field. And then, yeah, just runs through like 4 arm tackles in a row. Doesn't matter. Takes it to the end zone. Listen, that finish probably never happens in the NFL. Let's be honest. But his route running and his ability to create space in the middle of the field, yeah, that will happen in the NFL. I 100% believe that. But moving on, let's talk about his route running and more specifically his release off the line, because I love his quick feet and his ability to create space in one-on-one situations. And right here is just a good example of that against Alabama. Quick feet, create some space, and he has a variety of different ways of doing this, right? Like, he creates space in a variety of different ways. This is probably my favorite. Presses the X button here at the top of your route, does a 360, and creates as much space as you need, again, across the middle of the field. That's what you're going to ask him to do in the NFL. He will beat nickel corners off the line and create space in the open field. So that's who Kadarius Toney is. He is incredibly fun to watch. I know I've already said that like 10, 12, 15 times, however many times I've already said it, and I'll probably say it again before the end of this video, but that's just who he is. He is shifty as hell, incredibly athletic, incredibly explosive. All of those things check the box plus about 10. I mean, I am incredibly excited for that skill set. Again, I need to mention he is raw. There's certain elements to his game that are not fully fleshed out, but overall, I certainly think that he has a lot of potential in the NFL. Let's get over to the skill chart and then we'll talk about where I see him ending up. So route running in hands in that, 5.2 to 5.5 type of range. It's just a little bit above average. It's good. It's fine. Nothing spectacular, but I'm good with it so far. And I certainly think he can develop. Really, the thing that Kadarius Toney is going to get drafted on is his athleticism and his quickness. Athleticism at 7.1, that is an elite score for me. And his quickness at an 8.7, that's almost as high as it gets. This is out of 9, and I almost never give out 9s. So at 8.7, that is just about as good as it gets for my grade scale. Absolutely awesome. And that is a huge reason as to why I think he can do great things in the NFL. He's just another level type of athlete that you have to get excited about. Contested catch, that's just not his game. I didn't really see it at all. And the few times that I saw him have an opportunity to do it, he didn't come down with the ball. So that kind of lends itself to just not being great. Not something I'm worried about. Again, I don't think that's what you're asking him to do. When you get into yards after catch ability, 7.9, elite at that type of thing. Look, I mean, I'm just kind of retreading what he's good at, and we kind of already know this. His cut and change of direction skills, I pointed that out in the film portion of the video. Super good. When you get into contact balance and body control, contact balance at a 4.8. Listen, you definitely saw him get pushed around at times. I think when he is going head on and he's ready for a collision, it's really good. Where there were issues were maybe when he was in a route, you definitely saw him get pushed off a route from time to time. You definitely saw more aggressive physical corners bully him a little bit at the line of scrimmage. Not incredibly bad. It was not something to where I felt like I needed to point it out in the film review or anything like that, but it definitely happened from time to time, and it's certainly worth mentioning. That's why I put it at a 4.8, just a little bit above average, because I mean, listen, that one play where he just ran over a defender and moved on, that was going to put him in the plus column for contact balance on that play alone. Let's be honest here. Body control at a 3.6, that might look a little unfair. That's more specifically catered to his downfield contested catch ability, and obviously contested catch isn't very good. Really, body control is about his ability to contort his body to make the catches, and I just didn't see it enough to where I felt like I needed to put it as a good grade. 3.6, definitely a negative grade for me. But again, that's not his game. That shouldn't really be counted against him too bad. And the way he's going to grade out as a slot receiver in my grading system. So the body control grade really is very, very minimal, if non-existent for that particular grade. Moving on here, release and separation are positive grades. Again, raw prospect, but his release is something you could tell he spent a ton of time on, and I mentioned it in the video for a reason. He did a lot of good work with this. Separation, create some separation, and blocking at 5.5. Listen, he could certainly stand to add a little bit to his frame, and maybe that would help with his ability to take on blockers head on, but he is always willing. You never really see him take plays off from that regard, and I see him finish blocks more often than not. So 5.5, that's a positive grade. Had no issues with that. Kadarius Toney is going to end up very highly ranked in my grade. I'm not exactly sure where he's going to be, if it's at like 5 or maybe like 7, but he's going to be somewhere in that range when it's all said and done. For me, Kadarius Toney does end up being at the top of that shifty weapon slot receiver type of archetype wide receiver that you see in the NFL. He is at the top rung for me. He is the number one guy that I would be looking for if I am a team that is looking for that style of wide receiver. That is why I really believe he ends up being a first round pick. I know that maybe that's bold. I'm not exactly sure where everybody else has him, but I do think he ends up being a first round pick, back of the first round, somewhere in that range, like I said. But I believe the sky's the limit for him if he can develop into the guy that I see him being in the NFL. Listen, he is raw. I'll give you that. But I actually went back and looked at some of the 2019 film and really realized how much he's grown as a player from 2019 to 2020. If he can have that same type of growth from 2020 to 2021 in the NFL and maybe into 2022 when he starts to fully get used to the NFL environment, yeah, the sky is the limit. As I said earlier, it is absolutely phenomenal what he could end up being. So yeah, first year, probably more of a gadget player that doesn't get the opportunity to be a full wide receiver in whatever system he ends up in. But into year 2 and year 3, I think you're going to see a real progression and a real growth from Kadarius Toney into a complete wide receiver. Really, I think he could end up being a Sammy Watkins type of guy. And I know Sammy Watkins didn't have the best career from where he was projected to be as a top end draft prospect to what he ended up being in the NFL, which was just kind of overall. But really, I think you can blame injuries more than just his physical talent for why he never really ended up hitting his true potential. And Kadarius Toney, I think maybe he doesn't have the top end potential that Sammy Watkins came out with, but overall, I think they have a similar play style, and that's kind of my comp. And really, I say Sammy Watkins, well, I think the Chiefs are going to have an opening that Sammy Watkins will be leaving in the offseason. I think he would fit super, super well on the Chiefs. And the thing is, that's kind of where his range is. I think he is back of the first round, beginning of the second round kind of range. And really, I think he has more value to the teams that are drafting at the back of the first round because they can probably afford to wait on this dude to fully develop into the receiver that I believe he can be. So, whether it be 31 or 32, I'm recording this the night before the Super Bowl, so I don't know who's going to win. But either way, that would be a really, really good landing spot because the Chiefs can't afford to wait on Kadarius Toney. But let me know what you guys think. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and come back soon for another video. Peace out.